he's already in office. Nobody, there's nothing to find. Well, I started looking in these proprietary databases that I have, and I uncovered immediately that he was using an illegal social security number. He was using a Connecticut number. He should have had a Hawaii number. The way the social security system is set up, it went into effect in 1936, and the only people that had to belong to it was if you worked for a company that had 15 or more employees. Well, as time went on, as you all know, we all got sucked into it. And when I got mine, I was, I think, 13 or 14. I had my first job. So that's how it would have worked for Barack Obama also. He said that he worked for Baskin and Robbins when he was 15 years old. He was living in Hawaii, so he would have been assigned a Hawaii number that started with the numbers 575 or 576. Well, what I found is his number started with 042. As I looked deeper into the background, I came up with addresses for him in Chicago, in Massachusetts, and in Washington, D.C. All of them had the 042 number on them. The way the system works is when they set up the Social Security system, they started with the East Coast, and all the numbers started with 0. And then as it went west, the numbers got larger. That's how it ends up with such high numbers in Hawaii. Well, when I looked at his phone records, it said that the number had been issued in 1977 in Connecticut. And the only way that anybody could get a social security number then in any place is where you signed up, where your residence was. It didn't matter where you were born. If you had been born somewhere else and moved, when you applied, that's where you got your number. Ohio's got its own numbers. Connecticut went from 040 to 049, so it could have been any combination in there. He was 042. And I instantly, because I had already worked for so many years as an investigator, I knew that it was phony. I knew instantly. Well, I ran him on some other databases I had, and this is where it gets interesting, because when I first found the number, it said it had been issued to somebody that was born in 1890. Now, everybody would say, how is that possible that somebody in 1977, born in 1890, would be getting a social security number? But I have a file from another woman. She was born in 1894. And in a letter in her file, it said that she had always used her husband's number. At that time, very few women were out working that were that age. And apparently her husband had died. She needed her own number. She got her number on the same date that Barack Obama's number was assigned, and that was March 28, 1977. Well, on that date, Obama was 15 and in high school in Hawaii. He never started using that number until he was 26 years old. One of the interesting things, the book I wrote 2 years ago, it includes a page that somebody sent me from his 2009 tax filing as president, and it has the Connecticut number on it. All his documents that supported him as the candidate, which included, they were all forgeries, like Selective Service, when he allegedly signed up for there. It was supposed to be done The application was supposed to have been done in 1980. That's the date stamped on it, except it says the form is a 2007 form. All his documents were made in 2008. As to his schooling, he went to Occidental. He only took 4 or 5 classes there. He never graduated from there, but he said he went on to Columbia. He never went to Columbia. I read an article somebody had written, and it talked about a professor there that had been there for years and was irate that Obama was saying he went to school there. Well, I called him, and this was probably 8 or 9 years ago. At that time, the teacher was 93. He had been teaching at Columbia for 46 years in the history department. He said that he never heard of Barack Obama, never saw him. None of the other professors in history ever saw him or had him in a class. Barack Obama was supposed to be a political science major, and they all took history classes. This teacher told me that he taught, one of the classes he taught was the history of the presidency. He said every political science major took this class. And then the killer was when he told me that the dean of the school told him, this teacher, he said that he had never heard of Barack Obama, had no idea who he was, but he was told to sign his diploma, and he did. Okay? Then he goes on to Harvard. Now this is what's remarkable. He goes to Harvard Law School without so much as an associate's degree. Yeah, but that was arranged by the Saudis and the CIA. And in fact, Bill Ayers' father also helped chip in. One of the interesting things is a guy who used to be a postman for the Ayers family, in 1989, he said that he was delivering mail to their house, and here came a tall, thin, light-skinned black man down the street who engaged him in conversation. And he had been delivering mail to the Ayers house for years. And so he said to Obama, well, what are you doing? What are your plans? And he said, well, I'm just here to thank the Ayers for helping me through school. And the guy said, well, what do you plan on doing after school? And he said, I'm going to be the president. And then this was 1989. If you don't think they play the long game, you're wrong, because they really do. When he allegedly graduated from Columbia, he worked for a CIA front business called Business International Corporation for a year. His mother worked for the CIA in Indonesia. His grandparents were CIA. This is a family just unbelievably corrupt and rotten to the core. I interviewed a girl that knew him as a teenager, and she said he was just disgusting as a kid, and said that she was 2 years younger than him, and she said that he, for anybody that doesn't think he's gay, she said he would entertain the rich white tourist males that landed there and on Waikiki, on Hotel Street, that he was entertaining them. All the documents that were made for Barack Obama in 2008 were done by John Brennan, who might be the most evil man in the country. He's a horrible person. There's nothing good about this guy. I watch him on TV, and he comes across as this really very smart, kind person, and he's just rotten. If you would see, when I wrote the book, I didn't have all the documents that I have now, showing the phony documents for for the applications for selective service, the verification of them. It's really interesting because on the application that was supposed to be done in 1980 and was actually done in 2008, Barack Obama's signature is identical. Now, I don't know anybody whose signature stays exactly the same for 30 years. And when they dated the application, it was 2008. They needed a 1980 stamp, but didn't have one. So out of copies I have of other applications, his is the only one that says July 30th, 08. What they had done is they had taken a 2008 stamp, removed the first 2 and 0, flipped the stamp over and stamped it like that to try and make it look like it was a 1980 application. If any of you have heard of Donald Young was Reverend Wright's choir master. Reverend Wright's church was famous as a place for what they did is they found beards for gay people to end up finding people to marry each other to make it look like they were normal people. They were not. I mean, Donald Young was the choir master. Donald Young was Obama's boyfriend. Now keep in mind, he had married Michelle in 1993, and in December 23rd, 2007, Donald Young was killed execution style in his apartment building. In one of my recent Substack things, I show a thing that talks about Donald Young and about how his mother says that she knows Obama had him killed before he started with his campaign. Within 6 weeks, another one of Barack Obama's friends, this all happened at the end of 2007 before he ramped up his campaign. Another guy was executed. This is one of Obama's friends, and the third one died of AIDS. There was, in October of 2008, right before the election, Obama went off to Hawaii, and he went there allegedly to see his sick grandmother, there was a photo op of him in front of her building. He actually went there to meet with the Board of Elections because they were not going to put his name on the ballot. The guy who ran the Board of Elections was a very honorable guy. Well, somebody named Brian Schatz was the head of the Democrat Party there, and he was also involved in some nonprofit. What Brian Schatz did and Nancy Pelosi did is they convinced this guy from the Board of Elections to change the certificate of nomination. Obama could, as we know, there's only 3 requirements to be the president. You have to live in the country for 14 years. You have to, why am I forgetting the second one? But the third one is you have to prove that you're a natural born citizen.
Yeah. You're born in Kenya.
Okay, well, Obama could not come up with a birth certificate. Now he's in Hawaii, the Board of Health is there, he can't come up with a birth certificate. I have an affidavit from a guy that worked at the Board of Elections there, his name was Tim Adams. And in it he said, while he was working at the Board of Elections, that they were told to stop asking about a birth certificate for Obama because there was none. And you know, they of course, everything like this, I saw it briefly. I have a copy of it. everything like this is hidden. Obama was not born in Kenya, I can tell you that, and I'll tell you why. His mother shows up she came from Mercer Island. She graduated from Mercer Island, or at the high school there, in June of 1960. The following week, her family moved to Hawaii. Obama was born in 61, in August of 61. In about the 20th of August, she shows up, Ann Dunham, his mother, who was not married to Barack Obama Sr., because he already had a wife in Kenya and children with her. She shows up with a 2-week-old baby at a friend's house that she went to high school with. And the friend said in an interview, she didn't even know how to change the diaper. I had to do it for her. Well, for her to have gone 9,200 miles from Kenya on a 32-hour flight with layovers, it didn't happen with a brand new baby whose diaper he didn't even know how to change. And his grandmother, Obama's grandmother, who originally said, oh yeah, he was born in our hut, and then she changed it, no, he was born in a hospital in Mombasa. And then she said, no, he was born in Hawaii. Well, he was also not born in Hawaii, or there would be a birth certificate for him there. Now, I have a copy of his father's immigration file, and in it says that, in fact, I might have, yes, I do have it right here. It says, subject, meaning Barack Obama Sr., got his wife pregnant, and although they were married, they do not live together.
5 minutes. 5 minutes and wrap it up.
Okay, Miss Dunham is making arrangements with the Salvation Army to give the baby away. All right, she was never seen in Hawaii pregnant. And I started thinking about it, where could she have gone? The only place she could have gone would be back to Seattle, where Mercer Island is. And I started looking for Salvation Army hospitals, or homes for unwed girls. And I found one in Vancouver, British Columbia, 160 miles away from Seattle. And I think that that's where he was born. I don't think he's ever been an American citizen. He was using an illegal social security number from the time he was 26 up until, I know for sure, 2009. Everything he did, every law he signed, every dollar he spent was done illegally. And I'll stop there in case anybody has any questions.
We can take some quick questions. Anybody?
I'll bite the bullet there. So who in this particular stage your research uncover who was behind his selection, his grooming is for?
I have no, I mean, it's a collection of people. I mean, obviously this was in play since the mid-'80s. And when he ran for Senate, he ran against a guy named Jack Ryan, whose divorce file had been sealed, and it became unsealed, and he had some really embarrassing things in it, and he dropped out then as the Republican candidate. So Obama had no opposition when he became senator.
Huh. What was the ultimate, I mean, this may be out of these questions, what was the ultimate purpose of getting him into office?
You see,
The whole thing
look what he did to the country.
Socialism.
Corruption.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, wasn't he, wasn't his birth name Barry?
He was Barry Soetoro for 4 years. His mother kept abandoning him, and which is one of the reasons I think he hates white people so much, because she was white. She had him in Indonesia with her from the age of 6 to 10 and then sent him back home. And while he was there, he was registered in school as Barry Sotoro because she by then was married to a Sotoro.
But wasn't there also, I've heard some stories about his past. There was this black man in Hawaii.
Frank Marshall Davis.
Yes.
That's who I think is his real father.
They think he's his father.
And if they had admitted that, there would never been a problem with his birth. But Frank Marshall Davis was a communist and an old pedophile, and they could not have him as the father of their grandson.
Right, but Barack spent time with him, if I'm not
He
mistaken.
grew up with him.
That's what I
He was
thought.
with him all the time. Yes.
How about Michael Robinson?
Actually, Michelle, I have seen a picture of Michelle Obama at the age of 15 in a dance class in tights, and she is female. She is not a male. I think she went through a phase where she wanted to be a male, and she had a haircut and was dressing like a man. She's a woman.
Is Sasha and Aaliyah actually his daughters or not?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I think they belong to Martin Nesbitt and his wife Anita Blanchard. They're identical to them.
Is he a Muslim too?
He's a Muslim traveler. He's not in anything.
Wow.
Wow.
Little bit of drama tonight, huh?